Welcome to Margaritaville, Mr. Hausman.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here.
We are happy to have you, but it doesn't look like you're Margaritaville ready.
What do you mean?
You look too much like a New Yorker. You're going to need flip-flops, a land shark lager, this buffet box set, and of course, a cheeseburger. This is paradise after all.
Well, I hope come Monday, I don't regret this.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the No Vacancy podcast. This is your fearless leader, Glenn Hausman, here to bring you through the wonderful world of travel. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening. Be sure to check out all my good stuff over at hotelmanagement.net and my appearances during their Hotel ROI series throughout the year. Don't forget to follow me at Traveling Glenn on Instagram, on Twitter, and I'm going to send you all sorts of great information. And I also want to thank all the good folks at Bridge Street Global Hospitality for having me host Here to Stay TV. You can find Here to Stay TV on the Bridge Street channel right now on YouTube, and I get a great chance to do a lot of video interviews with amazing industry professionals from around the globe. It's why I've been in Germany. It's why I've been in London. It's why I'm going to be doing some more great trips coming up soon. Don't forget to like us on iTunes. But today, because I had such a good time and we got such amazing feedback, I brought back the one and only Rebecca Alicia, travel consultant with Smart Flyer. Rebecca, welcome back.
Glenn, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here. It's always fun hanging out and talking about travel with you.
It sure is, except traveling with me, not fun at all. Talking about travel, maybe so much. I'm really a pain in the butt, Rebecca, when it comes to traveling. I've got all of my systems in place, and I'm not really good at adapting to things at the last minute. It's really quite sad to experience.
Oh, no, that's why you should use a travel planner.
That's exactly right. And, and I think I'm going to have to speak to you and utilize you. And I'm thinking we could even do a show on this because we have pulled the trigger on a big trip to go to Israel this summer. We're going July 30th to August 10th. And I'm saying those dates specifically, everybody out there, because I'm going to be doing a lot of broadcasting from there, and we're going to do a lot of fun stuff. And we'll see if I could videotape my kids being bar mitzvahed at the wall over there, which is a pretty big trend these days, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. So many people are really opting to take the time to make memories and a family vacation rather than kind of blowing that whole budget on an individual party.
Right, I know. I mean, I did that party. My parents threw me the bar mitzvah party, and while I have a couple of memories of it, it could have been any kid's bar mitzvah, really. We all danced the hora, people lit some candles, we ate some food, we all went home, and that was really about it. Not very memorable in the long run.
I definitely can contrast because I had a party probably similar to yours, whereas my brother, for his bar mitzvah, we took the trip to Israel, and I have a lot more memories of that experience than I do of my own party. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, so, I'm hoping to get in touch with such history. I'm a huge history buff. When I was in London last month, I had the opportunity to go see the British Museum and saw some really, really old stuff, which is fascinating. So I cannot wait to see all of that summer. And for all of you, dear listeners, I will be bringing back lots of visual souvenirs, lots of audio souvenirs, great videos, great interviews that you guys can hear and experience it along with me. And speaking about broadcasting live, as you know, for all the folks that listen to this show regularly, the No Vacancy podcast, the one you're listening to right now, is the official podcast of the AHOA annual convention coming up April 12th and 13th, and they are pretty much sold out. If you want to go, you can go, but it's going to be difficult. They've got over 6,000 people there. And those good folks, I'm going to have they're helping me build a studio out front of the trade show. And I want you to come by. I want you to share your stories with me from 1 to 3 p.m. every day. Plus, I've got great CEO interviews. I've got the CEOs of La Quinta lined up with Red Roof Inn. I've got the head of the CVB from San Antonio scheduled to speak to me because we are going to be in San Antonio. And we're going to be doing all of this live on the AHOA page, Facebook feed. I'm really excited. And then you can get audio versions of it here on the podcast. But Rebecca, I got summer travel on my mind because I keep fantasizing about going away. I know I'm going to Israel this summer, but it doesn't mean everybody else is. What's your overall vibe on the energy behind people wanting to get away this summer?
Oh my goodness. We are seeing a real explosion in the last couple of weeks over people getting ready for those last weeks of August before the kids go back to school. Everybody wants to go away. And I'm seeing an uptick in some different destinations this year. Things are changing a little away from the traditional Caribbean getaway.
Well, that's nice to see. I find that people are getting a lot more sophisticated, and they want to try a lot of different places to go visit and enjoy themselves. Right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so I want to get into all of these things, but I do want to put out there, everybody, if you haven't had a chance to listen to our evaluation on Disney and all of the great things that are happening down there, you should check out that show. I'm actually looking right now to see what day I released that show, but I have no recollection of which day that was. Do you have an idea of which day that was?
Oh, not off the top of my head.
Yeah, all right. Well, that serves my fault. But make sure you check the catalog, check that out. It was a fun show. We had a great time doing it, and we learned all about the secrets that you need to know in order to maximize your Disney vacation. Now, I want you to take me through some of the hot destinations in 2017. But before we bring that up, Rebecca, I want to talk about some of the big trends that we're seeing here. Now, Choice Hotels did a major survey that they released at the end of last year, and they're saying that this year's summer travel season is going to be absolutely spectacular. Did you know that leisure and personal travel budgets this year are expected to be up 42% from 2016, from $3,572 to $5,063? Rebecca, as a travel agent, hearing such a big jump must be exciting for you. It means people are taking more serious trips or they're staying longer in places.
I think that's true. And I think what I'm seeing, and I think we referred to this before, it's a little bit more about immersion travel now. People aren't looking for the cookie cutter experience of going to an all-inclusive, although that's great. But what's nice to see is that people really want to take their families, take their spouses, and experience something different and learn from culture in a different place, whether that's domestic or international, and they're willing to commit to it, which is such a gratifying thing to be part of the industry and see that happening.
Yeah, it's pretty darn cool because, as I referenced, I went to the British Museum in London and had a great time, but I was an observer of history. I wasn't participating in culture. I wasn't immersing myself in that type of experience, and that's the type of way that people want to travel right now. So my Road Warrior fans out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you hotelier guys out there, if you're not catering towards setting the stage for experiences for people to immerse themselves in your communities, you are missing out big time. So, Rebecca, what are some of the things that people are doing to immerse themselves in that overall experience when they're traveling?
Well, so what I'm seeing at the moment is a lot of empty nesters going out to California and doing Napa and Sonoma, which is absolutely dreamy and gorgeous. And you can really live like a local when you're out there. So many wonderful farm-to-table restaurants, so much nature to be experienced, hikes and coastal views. Absolutely amazing. We're having such a good time planning those trips for them.
What are some of the things that you could do when you're in those areas that really immerse yourself in it?
Well, you first of all, going out and seeing the vineyards and seeing how the wine is made is something that everybody does when they're there. Of course, if you're there, you're going to have to go tasting.
Yeah.
We're seeing more and more the foodie scene, which was always big there. Of course, you have French Laundry and other major restaurants, but you're seeing an increase in farm to table at an accessibility point for everyone who visits. And then, of course, there's all of the adventure activities, hiking and biking, and just chilling out at the hotel, the spa, so many things to do, hot air balloons, horseback riding. It's just, I could probably go on for the entire podcast just talking about that.
I think you could, because that would be great, because then I don't have to do so much talking, and I'm very, very lazy. So, I love that idea. I'd like to see, I'd like to do a horseback ride while taking a hot air balloon trip. That would be something interesting.
Well, I don't know about doing that while drinking. I think it's a kind of a walking and chewing bubblegum scenario.
Yeah, that's absolutely for sure. Man, I love that part of the world. And I think the way that people love wine, or at least the way that moms like wine from what I read on Facebook all the time, it's got to be a great kind of experience to go. Now, we both happen to coincidentally be here on Long Island, and I love the North Fork for all of the wine tours that they have out there. I haven't really been able to immerse myself properly in a wine tour because I got to drive home at night, but I would love to connect, in Napa and on the West Coast with some of those tours that take you from place to place to place, so you don't have to worry about anything. You're probably seeing an uptick in those kind of trips.
Well, it's absolutely true. I've actually done a girls group where we put together, because you brought up the moms, we put together moms that don't even know each other from different areas of Long Island, and we all go out to the vineyards out on Eastern Long Island, of course, using a party bus to stay safe. Nobody should be drinking and driving. And there are really nice boutique hotels out there. And it's a great experience and a great way to get to know other people.
Well, if you expand that trip to, dads or wannabe moms, just let me know, and I'll definitely jump on that tour with you guys, because that to me is a really great way to have some fun. And I think one of the big trends that we're seeing now is people more than willing to take these kind of group trips and be thrown in with lots of folks that they don't know to experience a different culture or different experience with. Am I just making that up, or is there some truth to that?
Oh, no, definitely. In fact, in some of the resorts that we're seeing, especially in Mexico, they have something called the singles table, where if you travel by yourself, or even if you're with a couple, they put you together at a table with other people so that you can have a little different conversation while you're there. And I think that's something that's really nice. Of course, I don't need to talk to anybody other than my husband for hours, but some people I hear might like to expand.
Well, yes, especially my wife, because she has to be stuck with me otherwise. So, this would be a great opportunity for her to discuss things with people that don't aggravate her constantly in her life, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. So another trend that we're seeing that would, of course, increase the ability to have great conversation at dinner is travel to places that are a bit off the beaten path. And one of the increases I'm seeing this year is requests for a place in Italy called Puglia, as opposed to going to Amalfi. Are you familiar, Glenn?
No, I'm not familiar with Puglia at all. I've never even heard of it. So tell me more. I want to hear about it, because everybody loves Amalfi. Everybody talks about Amalfi, but my guess is it's going to be crowded as all heck with people that are there experiencing it.
Absolutely. Well, Puglia is kind of on the boot of the heel of Italy's boot. It is a coastal town. It is absolutely breathtaking. There are 2 airports you can fly into to get there, and it is truly a special place. They have resorts that are family style. They have resorts that are more upscale and for adults. And it is really, like I always say, gratifying to see people traveling off the beaten path a little bit and doing something different.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love, Rebecca, is that people are willing to do those different types of locations. I feel that travelers have become so much more sophisticated, and they've got that been there, done that kind of attitude, that they're looking for those different experiences. To me, it comes down to, and this is one of the things that I say in a lot of my stump speeches on stage, is bragging rights. They want to come home and be able to say, "You're not going to believe what I did."
100%.
Awesome. So tell me, what are some of the other things that people want to do? Now, take this Puglia thing, for example. You've got the resorts, you've got great meals. What other types of places are you finding that people are getting really excited about that we're not thinking about?
Well, I will tell you that Costa Rica is hot, hot, hot. I mean, everybody wants adventure travel. Everybody wants to go somewhere and see different things, like you said, and be active. No place offers that like Costa Rica. You have hotels there. What we're doing is pairing hotels on the beach for a few nights with hotels inland in the rainforest or by the volcanoes for a few nights. We take care of the transfers, and people are really immersing themselves in this amazing, amazing destination. There's zip lining, there's treetop hiking, there's scuba diving and snorkel, zip lining, every animal under the sun you can imagine, surfing. it is definitely a popular destination, and there's no doubt why.
Yeah, I've got a buddy that goes to Costa Rica often, and we've run some ads for a particular resort in Costa Rica. I got to get them to come back and do some more of those because it is such a great place to go to. Not that I can speak from experience because I keep claiming I'm going to go and then wind up doing nothing except sitting here in my home studio, which is very sad. But after traveling like I do to conference rooms around the world, that I feel I need that. But I got to go to Costa Rica. Have you had the luxury of being there?
I haven't gone there yet. I have been to Belize, which is, I think, has a very similar in feel and a lot of the same types of activities. It is a little bit more of an emerging destination. I don't know that it's necessarily somewhere that people with small kids want to go quite yet. They're going to get there, though.
Yeah. What age do you think is appropriate for travel to Costa Rica? I'm saying that because, my boys are now, my twins are now 13 years old, and it seems like this would be the perfect time if I wasn't scheduled to spend all my money on Israel this summer. I should probably go there next winter.
Absolutely. I think once kids are old enough to take part in any of these activities, the zip lining and the treetops, at 9, 10 years old, I think that's a great time. It's not too long of a flight. Especially children that age really love the animal interactions and seeing all of the amazing wildlife and nature. That's a perfect age for it, for sure.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm realizing is when we were kids, travel was a little bit different. It was go see this museum, get back in the car, go see another museum, go look at some stuff. But it feels like these action-adventure trips of today are a lot more interactive and stuff that kids would be far more interested in than just going and looking at old ruins and stuff.
Sure. Well, I mean, now we're going a little bit far afield, but I'll share with you that some of the bigger touring companies have really realized that. So like Tauk and certainly Disney with their Adventures by Disney tours are really catering to activities for children when they're immersed in a foreign culture. So, for example, going to London and doing like a Harry Potter scavenger hunt. These are things that are really, really appealing to small children, and it makes travel palatable to them. And it's such a gift to the parents to be able to enjoy it with them and on that level.
Yeah, and for me, a lot of the travel experience is just in experiencing the trip, the vacation, through the eyes and words of my children, as opposed to me being an active participant in it. I just love to see how happy they are and seeing their faces light up from learning new things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So another big place I hear is Greece this summer.
Yes, for sure. And we have honeymooners that are going. We have anniversaries going. And you can do so much with Greece and with respect to different budgets, which is one of the reasons I love it. You can, play it down. You can play it up. It could be over the top. One of my favorite hotels, Cannabis, is just opening a brand new Sunday suites, which are absolutely amazingly gorgeous. If you look them up online, you will be crying to go. And we're just seeing a real uptick in travel to that destination.
Awesome. What I like about Greece, not that I've been to Greece, I feel like all of these destinations that we're talking about today, I have zero experience in any of them, which is kind of fun, exciting to me because I get to learn all about them. But we've got friends that originated from Greece, or their families originated from Greece, and they try to go back there every year. And it seems to me that it's a pretty chill spot to hang out. You just go and you eat fresh fish and olives all day long, and you just kind of chill out.
Well, again, it's another place that you can really make of it what you will. You can go and see historic sites. You can certainly make it a more historical and educational trip. Or you can go and, like you're saying, really enjoy the gourmet experience, the wine, the fresh food, and, of course, the amazing scenery, the water, the architecture. I heart Greece. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, well, all right. Now, you're totally plugged into travel, and you're probably going away. Where are you taking the family this summer, Rebecca?
So this summer, we are going to be doing Bermuda at the end of the summer. And I'm, of course, going to attend Virtuoso's Travel Week in Las Vegas. So that's my summer plans. Coming up, we also have Puerto Rico on the horizon and Arizona as a fall destination for my family.
Excellent. Where in Arizona are you going to?
We're going to be doing the traditional Grand Canyon paired with Sedona.
Beautiful. Sedona. That place is absolutely beautiful, and I love Bermuda too. Bermuda, I think, is one of those real hidden gems. It's really close to New York. What is it, about an hour and a half flight or something like that?
People don't realize how close it is, and it is a world away, but a quick flight.
Right, absolutely. That's a great way to put it. Now, you think about going to Hawaii for that warm crystal blue waters, but you're going to get warmer water and just as blue waters in Bermuda, and you really are in the middle of nowhere when it comes to there. Those sandy beaches are absolutely spectacular. Horseshoe Bay has got that pink sandish kind of beach to it.
Beach, and you know what else, Glenn? It's Zika free.
It is Zika free. That's true. You don't, which is always good because I don't like coming home with diseases. That's never a fun thing. But Bermuda, the cool thing I like about that is it's super clean. It's a pretty wealthy country, so it's just really manicured and gorgeous and very, very upscale feeling, and you don't feel silly. And it's the only place in the world I don't feel silly wearing socks with shorts, so that's always a good thing too. And they've got great caves also in Bermuda, which is pretty cool.
And terrific food.
Yes.
It all comes back to the food, Glenn.
Yeah, definitely for me. I've had a chance to go to Bermuda 3 or 4 times now, and every single time I absolutely love it. And let me say one other thing about Bermuda. The people there are freaking fantastic and nice, and all the employees that you run into in the different hotels, they are really, truly there to serve, where sometimes I don't feel that way in other destinations in the Caribbean.
That's an interesting observation.
You think I'm right at all? Maybe? Or you could just say I'm right for, feed my ego, which is always a good thing.
I always think you're right.
Thank you. Right on cue. Thank you very much. So, Rebecca, I got you here, and we got a few minutes left. So I'm curious as to what's the craziest trip that you've ever planned for somebody?
Oh, my goodness. I think you might have stumped me there. I feel like there's nothing that's too crazy, nothing that's off the charts right now. Mm-hmm. People are just doing all kinds of unique experiences that appeal to them, that work for their families. And so I really couldn't point to anything as being unusual. My favorite, I will tell you, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, mm-hmm. but I did have a client that specifically asked me for a place that she could go mm-hmm. to be as naked as possible without her husband seeing anyone else.
I like that. And you know what? There are adult-only resorts in the Caribbean. I think Charisma may have one of those kind of resorts where you could have some quiet space to do any of that kind of stuff. But not necessarily saying Charisma has that, so I do not know for sure. Is there a resort that you would recommend for a little...
Well, for this client, because she wanted privacy, we recommended a resort that had individual plunge pools on the roofs of their villas. Yeah. So that was perfect for her because she was able to be, as she said, as naked as she wanted to be without her husband seeing anyone else. We were clever on that.
Exactly. I love it. And, quite frankly, one of the hard Scrabble lessons I've learned in my life is the people that choose to be nudists are not the people that I necessarily want to be seeing naked. Anyway, I remember here on Long Island, we've got some of the best beaches in the world, not to brag about it, but it's been written up in magazines. And we have Robert Moses State Park, and I think it was Field 5, infamous Field 5, where they had some of the nudie beaches in the 70s and 80s. And, growing up, I would want to go down there and see what the deal was. And then inevitably I would get down there and I'd be both disappointed and disgusted simultaneously. It was not a pretty sight for little teenage Glenn.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, not a single word. You have no clue. I get that. You run a family consultancy over there at Smart Flyer. So, Rebecca, family nostalgia trips seem to be pretty big as well, especially to the parks of the Southwest. You said you're going to be going to Arizona and the Grand Canyon and all of that kind of good stuff. What does that nostalgic element mean to families these days? What are they looking for? Are they looking to repeat the trip and that they took as a kids when they were in the back of the station wagon, unbuckled in that back area, and with the dad and mom smoking cigarettes in the front, blowing smoke everywhere? Or how's that working these days?
Well, let's not go back to the smoking portion of it. But other than that, I do think that there's a real desire for people to reconnect with that feeling. And especially now all of our kids have these handheld devices. They're constantly on the computer, on their phones. And so to be able to really separate from that, go someplace as a family, enjoy the time together, it's just a really special time for families. And when you can tie that back into things you did as a kid when life was simpler, I think that's the picture that people are trying to tap into and grab.
I love that notion of trying to return to a simpler time. I feel like the world has really kind of gotten out of control in terms of what our expectations are on a day-to-day basis in terms of productivity and what we're supposed to do. And just look at how fast moving everything is. And we need to give ourselves a little bit more opportunity to take a break and make it just slow down or stop for a little while.
I completely agree.
Any tips on how to do that when you're away so that your kids get their faces out of the phone? Because we used to play, games in the car on the road trips that we would take over the summer, like geography and, 21 questions and the punch buggy game. When I was with kids, we'd beat each other up over that game. But what are families doing these days to try to get their kids off those screens?
Well, I think optimally, if you can get your kid to leave their phone in the room for the day, that's the biggest advice I would give. I was recently, as you know, in Disney World attending a showcase, and I can't tell you how sad it is to walk around a corner and see a kid standing with their family and looking down at their phone. So I think leave them in the room, leave them locked up, put them in the safe, and walk away. Right. And that's the way to reconnect.
Agreed. The only reason not to do that is if mom or dad, you take the phone, you take the extra batteries, and then you can play one of those cool games. When I was at Disney World with the family about a year and a half ago, it seemed like every fifth group online was playing this word game where the person put the phone up on their forehead, and then everyone gave them tips, and they had to figure out, what the word was.
Absolutely, absolutely. But those moments standing in line, those are opportunities,
yes.
Long as they may be. Those are opportunities to talk to your kids about, what's going on in their lives. And I think that's part of what makes travel special.
Yeah, exactly. Any final words on summer travel? Any tips that you might have in order to make the vacation experience better for families?
Well, I would definitely recommend that people start to book that stuff now because things are getting reserved quickly and booking up. And of course, I would always recommend that you use your local travel agent or travel consultant. They can really guide you and play matchmaker for you with destinations to find the perfect trip for your family.
I really agree, and I'm going to be using Rebecca's skills here to help me and my family negotiate Israel this summer. But take her warnings as real. She's not making this stuff up. I just saw her. I was at the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference this past week in Atlanta, and all the CEOs were there for the most part. And David Kong, the CEO of Best Western International, said that their summer travel is already outpacing last summer by 12%. That means prices are going up, availability is shrinking, and if you want to get in there, you better do it now. So plan for those summer vacations, treat yourself right, and maybe take a few days off with that family and get to know those kids again. I find that I spend more time texting with my kids than actually talking with them face to face sometimes, and it's just a dang shame.
Aww.
I know.
Thanks for having me, Glenn. I really appreciate it. Is it okay if I give a little shout out to my Facebook page?
It is not just all right. It is expected. I feel like we need to have a shameless plug theme at this point, but I will spare everybody from singing one extemporaneously. So go for it, Rebecca. Tell us about how to find you on SmartFlyer.
Thank you so much, Glenn. You can find me on Facebook under Rebecca Alessia, Curator of Travel with SmartFlyer. And please check out our amazing webpage, smartflyer.com. You will love it. It is super slick and cool, newly redesigned. Obviously, I would love to have all of your listeners as my individual clients, but we have a slew of agents just waiting to help anyone who reaches out.
I love that. Now, listen, guys, I want you all to stick around because I've got a great interview coming up with Richard Garlick. You're probably saying, hey, who is this guy? But he's got a great sounding last name. It's Garlic with a K, not the garlic that I kind of love. You'll want to listen to he's from JD Power, and we go into talking about the myths and truths about social media as a method of guest feedback. Everything you held sacrosanct about how people are responding to social media and what you should do about it. Turns out you're wrong. I'm wrong. You're wrong. Everybody's wrong. And we're going to learn how to do it right. So stick around and we'll be right back after this message.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for listening to the No Vacancy Podcast with me, Glenn Hausman. You know, you're listening to this right now. That's right, right now. You're listening, but you're not the only one. Many others are too. So my question is, do you want to get noticed? Guess what? I can help you with that. Every single month, my content delivers more than 100,000 impressions. I know. I thought the same thing too. Now it's your time to get you or your product, service, or brand known by leveraging my network. I'll work with you to find creative solutions that are going to get your message to the ears and eyes that you need to attract. Just send me a note at glenn@rouse.media or find me on Twitter @travelingglenn. That's glenn@rouse.media, ROUSE.MEDIA. And while we're at it, Glenn has got two N's. Thanks for listening, and now back to more great content.
Back to the show. It's No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
So if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know last June I had this great opportunity to talk to John Cole, and he's the CEO of Margaritaville Holdings. And it was early on in our show run, I think like episode 3 or 4, but I got such great feedback from it. And this company's so fast moving and so interesting to me that I wanted to explore a different approach for the company. Now, if you want to hear that interview, I recommend you going back and check it out because it's all about the state of the brand and leveraging the quality of that brand in order to propel it forward into the consumer mindset. But now I want to talk more specifically about marketing. So I brought on today Chief Marketing Officer Tamara Baldanza Decker, and we're going to talk all about marketing today and Margaritaville. Tamara, we are in spring now, first day of spring as we're recording this. It makes me feel like I got a margarita state of mind. How are you doing?
I am doing great, Glenn. Thanks for having me on. It's always it's always beautiful in Margaritaville. So first day of spring, first day of winter, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
we're always in that Margaritaville state of mind.
Yeah, and you've got places in great locations where the weather really doesn't mind because it's always bright, it's always sunny, and there's always a great cocktail around. All the things that I really dream about, Tamara, because I'm stuck up here in the frigid Northeast, wondering, when am I going to get to experience a little Margaritaville? I'm tired of pretending in my mind. I want to actually have some Margaritaville in my life.
So that state of mind line didn't work on you, huh?
No, I get it. It's a state of mind, but I'm still freezing myself off. I don't want to say any words there that'll make me not have a clean word, but you know what I'm getting at.
I do.
So, tell me a little bit about, how you got involved in Margaritaville and what attracted you to the company and, besides the fact that you get to be Chief Marketing Officer.
Well, it didn't start that way. So I've been with Margaritaville for a little over, actually, close to 19 years.
Wow,
so,
19 years?
Yeah, yes, it's been a long time.
You came right out of grade school, right to Margaritaville?
That's my line. Yeah, I started when I was 10. Not true. But yeah, I started as a restaurant manager in our Orlando restaurant at City Walk at Universal Studios, and was there during construction with a hard hat on, and had always been in the hospitality industry, and just over the years have worked my way. I don't want to say up because operations is the core of our industry. That's where all of the real work is done. But, I've worked my way through the organization. So lived in Jamaica for a couple of years and ran our properties there. Cool. Just have done all sorts of things. I've had my hands in all pieces of the business. So, here I am 18 years later as Chief Marketing Officer. I don't know anything else. I don't know what I'd do if I wasn't here.
That's pretty cool. And I just wish I was there because it's such a cool, interesting company with such a defined point of view, which I really like. My first experience with anything Margaritaville, other than the Jimmy Buffett concert experience and some of his books and stuff like that, was the Orlando restaurant at City Walk at Universal.
Yeah.
So, I immediately said, wow, these guys know what they're doing. And it's been such a pleasure over the last, it's got to be 20 years almost. I think it opened in 99-ish, right? 18 years since that opened?
Yes.
Oh, goodness
yes.
gracious. How far the brand has come. Yeah, I remember it was really cool because, this is the wonky theme park guy in me. I had a chance to go to Islands of Adventure before it officially opened to the public. And there was only like a few people in the park. It was one of the coolest days ever. And then I got to have some nice cocktails at Margaritaville.
I have a feeling that I might have been riding the Hulk with you during that time because I was at that same pre-opening event and then had to run over to the restaurant to do that big grand opening concert we did.
Well, I was definitely not screaming like a teenage girl at a Beatles concert. I promise you. That wasn't me. All right. So, marketing Margaritaville, how does it all come together for you? What are some of the things that you're thinking? I guess the point is you have to understand what your brand is. I know it, you know it, but why don't you share with our readers our listeners, what is the Margarita brand mean to the company and to its customers?
So the Margaritaville brand, it's hard to define. I mean, it's really anything you want it to be, whether it's a beach or it's time with your family. It's that escape. I mean, really, it's about fun and escapism, and that's what we say. We're in the business of delivering fun and escapism. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, right?
Right. I keep dreaming about escaping every day.
Right. So okay, every day I get to sell fun, but not such a bad gig. But it means something different for everybody. So it might mean having a land shark or a frozen concoction, but it might not. It might mean just laying on the beach in your hammock by yourself reading a book. It could mean having that time alone after work by yourself with a frozen concoction maker and listening to Radio Margaritaville on Sirius. It's just, it really is. I mean, and of course, why we're talking, it's all about going to one of our destinations and staying in a Margaritaville resort, which they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, I have not yet had the opportunity to stay at one, but I will get there. I promise.
Oh no!
One of these days. I've been too busy up here in the Northeast complaining about how cold it is to get down to somewhere warm and enjoy myself.
Well, you got to go where it's warm. We got to get you down to Hollywood or somewhere.
Yeah, one of these days. But I see what you're saying. It makes a lot of sense to me. I love that whole escapism idealism, and I also happen to like that Land Shark lager. Although it reminds me of that 1975 Saturday Night Live bit with the Land Shark. I don't know if you remember that bit.
Yes. Well, it's funny. I don't want to say that that's where Jimmy got the land shark reference from, but it may have been.
Right.
And then he wrote this song called Fins and wrote land shark into it, and the rest is history. Right.
I know. I just love that. I just love that skit so much. Are you UNICEF, ma'am? No, you're that clever land shark. Oh no, ma'am. No. That's it's just so great. Anyway, I could do land shark impersonations all day long, but that's going to get boring for everybody but me. So, also one of the things that I like is the design of what you're doing there. It's casual, but upscale and luxurious kind of at the same time. Yes. And I like how you guys kind of blend that aesthetic with the mindset to make it somewhere that's comfortable and approachable, yet at the same time feel like you're bathing yourself in something special.
Yeah, and it really is an amazing, it's amazing what we've done, and and it's really been listening to people and understanding what they're looking for and listening to our guests. And we're casual luxury, so you can go in and have this amazing stay, an amazing dinner at for instance, JWB, we've got this incredible steakhouse. It's a steak and fish house at our Hollywood property. It has won a number of awards. It's just this prime steak, fresh speared fish. But guess what? You can walk in there with your flip-flops and a T-shirt, and you may be sitting next to somebody in a suit, and nobody's going to look at you funny because anything goes, and it's casual luxury, and I think that's what's so special.
Yeah, I love that. That's so great because most places I go, people look at me funny. So it'd be nice to know that there's somewhere I could go.
I get it.
Yes. I worked in PR for an itty bitty bit decade ago or so, and we worked with some luxury clients, and they called it barefoot luxury, which I thought was also kind of a cool kind of phrase. And it's the same kind of vibe and energy where you feel good, you feel relaxed, and you get to have those upscale, high quality type of experiences.
Yeah, well, we were lucky in that Maureen Dowd from the New York Times, she actually coined that phrase, that term for us. She said so we didn't make it up.
Yeah.
She stayed at our property and said, Margaritaville has created a new category. It's casual lux.
That's
casual
awesome.
Luxury. So we grabbed onto that and ran with it because it really is what we are. I mean, it's casual luxury, and it's so nice. I've been working for the company for a long time, right? 18 years. So I've had the opportunity to, to do a lot of things. And I have to tell you, since we've really grown the resort business, I stay in our hotels and our resorts probably more often than I stay in my own bed because it's that great. So,
wow. Or your bed's really freaking horrible. I don't know.
Yeah, my husband's thrilled.
Right. It's actually because he snores a lot that you stay over there. But I get it. I know how it works. But no, just all kidding aside, I'm sure that the beds are absolutely terrific. One of the things that I will definitely have to investigate if I ever get my lazy butt down to one of your great locations.
Yeah, and if I could just tell you, it's not just our beds. We have these pillows called Paradise pillows. You can only buy them at the store, at the resorts now. We're going to start selling them online soon because there's such a demand. But they are the single most comfortable pillow you've ever slept in. They're so nice. So after a day of being out on the beach or getting on the flow rider or, drinking a couple too many margaritas, you can just lay in that bed on your Paradise pillow and drift off to sleep. They're so great.
You're confusing me because
sure
I've never heard of too many margaritas, so I don't know. This is not processing with me properly. But all right, I'm just being that the interviewer I am, I'm just going to go with it and not say you're making stuff up. But okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you connect with those potential clients and get them to come. What is the marketing that you focus on, and how are you relating to that customer mindset that you've laid out?
Sure. I mean, we focus more, we let me be honest, we don't do a lot of advertising.
No.
We do a lot of, we're very lucky, and people want to know more about Margaritaville. They want to hear more about Margaritaville. I mean, just reading about it and seeing the photos and hearing about it brings, people into this really great space in their heads. So we're lucky in that we don't have to pay for a lot of advertising. What we do is we do a lot of PR outreach. We get the brand out in front of people. We get photos and we get stories out in front of people. We're very lucky in that we've been featured on some, pretty incredible TV shows. The Today Show just featured a few of our properties, and Good Morning America. And we're getting all of this. We get a lot of press just for being us.
Wow.
So what we do is we continue to be the best us that we can possibly be, right? So we're just, we put most of our effort into creating this incredible experience, an incredible brand. We have this attention to detail, and we listen to our guests, and then we let them talk about us. And that's really, it's that word of mouth. It's that PR. It's people wanting to get into that Margaritaville state of mind, traveling to our properties. That's really, that for us is the most effective form of marketing. So again, we focus a lot of our energy on just ensuring that every experience is an incredible one.
So it sounds like you don't have to do anything. That's a great job. Just kind of come in.
So,
and...
Hey, wait a minute.
No, sorry. John Colin, if you're listening. Yeah, if Mr. Colin is listening, she's the hardest working person in the company. All right. So,
that's funny.
So I guess you connect over social media with people a lot and put an emphasis on that kind of outlet then.
Yeah, we do a lot of social. We do, again, a lot of PR, not necessarily in our ecosystem, but outside of our ecosystem. But speaking of, I think that's another incredible advantage that we have, and that we don't, I don't want to say we don't just do resorts and restaurants. We have so many categories of business that we have this really unique opportunity to talk to people in a shoe store, to talk to people on through HSN or Frontgate or one of our partners, because they're excited, they're creating product for us. It's a great talking point for them. We can use our properties our different properties as a backdrop to some of our commercials and some of our ads for their ads. So we leverage those partnerships to talk to new audiences, and then we use our properties, which are beautiful, as like I said, as a backdrop, as a set for a lot of the things that our partners are doing, for a lot of that advertising that our partners are doing. So it's really just, so when I say we don't do advertising, we don't pay for advertising, but we work with our partners to ensure that they have the best darn ads out there.
That's a great approach to doing things, and you're very fortunate to be in that position where a lot of other companies that don't have such a brand name that really resonates with customers, whether you like it or it's not your thing. You know what it is and you know what it means, and that takes you so far. It's unbelievable. Plus, you've got this guy that seems to go on tour every single summer that's helping keep the spirit alive and promoting it.
Who are you talking about? I'm just kidding.
I was talking about Fish, the jam band. I don't know what you're.
Oh yeah, they're great. No, I mean clearly everything is, every road leads back to Jimmy. I mean, our brand is founded on the lyrics and lifestyle of Jimmy. I mean, none of us would be here without him. And that's another. Again, I keep saying things that are going to make everyone think I don't work. I really do work, but I also don't have. We don't have to make up much. It's not like we have to come up with taglines or come up with these great, campaigns. We do, but we can just go to that portfolio of Jimmy music and the books that he's written, and we can pull things from that because nobody writes it or knows the Margaritaville brand better than him. And it's great to be able to just pull some of those gems and use them for the campaigns that we do,
Right. I'm sorry. Keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. Go, please.
I was going to say, I joked. I said Fish in there, but I said that specifically because they've got a real loyal core following, and that's what Jimmy Buffett has. And to me, that you have all these people that are so engaged in connecting with him through the lifestyle that they have. They get all those winks and the nods and all of those little things that you're pulling out. And I think it resonates with them in a much different way than if I was just to create XYZ hotel brand out there. And I would have a lot harder job to be able to make that connection and get them to want to come. With you, it's almost like you just have to, like Field of Dreams, build it and they will come.
Oh, that's funny. We've said that before, but we've stopped saying it because we don't take it for granted.
No, it's also a horrific cliche, which I'm sorry to even say.
And it's funny what you say about Jimmy's fans. The fans of Jimmy, they see we've pulled lyrics, we've pulled excerpts, we've pulled all of these great things that he's said through his stories and through his music. But it's interesting that people who have just become fans of the brand and may not know Jimmy as well as some of the core fans, they get it too because the wrinkles only go where smiles have been. I mean, who doesn't get that, right? Like, when life gives you limes, make margaritas. Okay, so I mean, it makes sense, to see. So it's just such a great place to be, and we have there's just so much to work with. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So one of the things that you have been doing is you've been expanding the hospitality portfolio. For example, you've got the Hollywood property that opened a year ago. In November of 15.
Yes,
getting on a year and a half now. And then you've got the casino business, and you're making a lot of deals. I know there's a big new project coming to Orlando that I learned about last year, and all sorts of stuff. So why don't we go through a couple of these exciting projects that you're working on and talk about how they're going to really fit in with the lifestyle and how they're a little bit different from each other.
Sure. Well, let's start with. We talked about Hollywood, and we could talk all day about that. But that was that's our flagship property, and it's the standard to which every other property now sits.
And if the listeners do want to learn more about that, again, check out that June 17th, 2016 show where I talked to John Colin all about the Margaritaville brand. Okay, go on.
No, so something really exciting that happened to us just in January was I'm sure you're familiar with what was the iconic Westin Resort and Marina in Key West.
Right, I am. But for the next part of this conversation, I'm going to pretend I don't know anything about any of this stuff. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, there's this great property. It's been there forever. It's right in the heart of Key West.
Yep.
A block from Duval. It's right on Mallory Square. It's just beautiful. Well, in January, our partners, our now partners in Key West, decided that it was time to just change things up a little bit, and we were lucky enough to take down that Westin flag and put up a Margaritaville Resort flag. So that iconic property is now a Margaritaville, which just shows you, the level to which our resort business has gotten. To be able to say that we replaced a Weston flag. It's such a beautiful, iconic property. It was great for us. We love Weston. It was a compliment, to say the least, and we're very excited to be back in Key West. I mean, we have a restaurant there, but we've always wanted a place to sleep, and Jimmy is, Jimmy is very excited about it. So he's been pretty involved in the process.
Spent a lot of time in Key West, I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
on his boat, which he can now park in the marina at the Margaritaville Key West Resort.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is pretty interesting.
And then, oh, yeah. And then you talked about the Orlando project. That is just, it is a $800 million project. It's 300 acres, 175 room hotel. 175 room hotel, 1,000 vacation homes, a 10-acre water park. We're going to have festive retail space, and it's just it's amazing. It's people keep calling it a theme park. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I guess when you look at all that's going to happen on that property, you could classify it as one. But that's really exciting for us. And then we just announced a partnership with Minto Communities, where we are also going to be launching a collection of 55 and better active adult lifestyle communities.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know. So the first one is in Daytona Beach. We'll have about 7,000 homes and a city center and all sorts of really, there'll be a small hotel.
7,000 homes?
Yeah. 6,900 homes is what we're,
Well, you got to stop exaggerating
the real number.
there, Tamara. Yeah.
But I'm in marketing. We round up, right? But it's just really interesting to see what's happened. We're this lifestyle brand that is now in the lodging business. So whether it's staying for a night or two at one of our resorts, or buying a vacation home at our Orlando property and, potentially renting it out or staying there, once a month. And then you can also, when you're done working, you can also live in Margaritaville. And,
right.
There's just so many options for people. You don't ever have to leave.
Yeah. All right. I want to talk a little bit more about this community that you're building with nearly 7,000 homes, because I have been watching the senior living trend really take off. As a matter of fact, I'm moving my mom in the next few weeks to a 55-plus community. Not as cool as Margaritaville, for sure, but I'm seeing older people not be old like previous generations of old people. They're young at heart. They're active. Medicine and good diet and exercise are making these folks live and be vital for a long time. And to be able to move into a place that meets their mindset is just so fabulous to me. And I see the whole senior living world is starting to break into niche categories, kind of like the hospitality business started to do in the late 1990s. And how do you guys think that this is going to really play with that type of people? I bet you've already had a bunch of interest in, hey, when can we move in?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So we've had we announced the project back in February, and this is an example of how we're very lucky in that people want to talk about our brand, right? So we announced it, and within that week we were on everything from they were talking about this project, and it's called Latitude Margaritaville. They were talking about Latitude Margaritaville on anywhere from Howard Stern, James Corden, Jimmy Kimmel. So it was on the Today Show. It was Good Morning America. We didn't place any of that. That was just people so excited about it. And we've had over 60,000 inquiries on how they can move in. People asking to be put on waiting lists. But it just shows you the appeal of our brand. And listen, I didn't make it up, so I can say it, without, it's not about what I did. I'm just lucky to be a steward of the brand.
Yeah.
But people want to be part of it, So it's very, very exciting. Yeah, and lots of interest, which is why we're going to be announcing more locations soon.
No doubt about that. So it is an exciting brand for you to be a part of. How do you keep yourself thinking fresh and new when you could just really sit back on your laurels and kind of let things happen on their own?
Well, I mean, they do have people talk about it on their own, but it takes a team of people to really keep the momentum going and in the right direction. We, just because people are talking about it, we've got to provide the ways for them to experience it. We've got to provide a place for them to learn more about it. We've got to continue that conversation with them. So it's a challenge every day. There's a lot of positive to being, the topic of discussion, but you also have to keep your eye out and your ears open. You've got to be watching what's going on and just managing that conversation. So that takes up quite a bit of our time. And then, quite frankly, we are moving so fast that the second that you think you've got something done, there's another project.
Yep. All of a sudden, you made a deal last month with Charisma Hotels for an all-inclusive resort.
So that's another exciting. We're now going to be opening all-inclusive properties with Charisma. They are the leader in the all-inclusive space, at least in our world. They are. We love working with them. They're just amazing operators, and we've announced that partnership, and we'll have a few locations with them. So we're
multiple locations, huh?
Yes, I'm not allowed.
I
think
understand
someone
that you can't
sent me
tell
a
me
note saying
where.
you're not allowed to talk about it.
I'm going to save us both the trouble of not even ask you, because I can't handle rejection, so that's why I'm not going to bother. But I think Charisma is an interesting partner, and maybe you could comment on this, because they were the first ones to really look at the all-inclusive experience and not be like, let's just make it slop. Let's give them high quality food. Let's give them a high quality
took it up a notch.
Everything. Yeah, they really did, and they kind of transformed it. So I'm guessing, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but that's part of the allure of what attracted you to connecting with those folks.
Absolutely. I mean, not only are they're fantastic operators, their service is phenomenal, but they do, the core of what Margaritaville does is food and beverage and music. Yep. And so we needed to partner with, if we were going to do this all-inclusive, concept, we did need to partner with the team that we felt did the best and, delivered the highest quality product in that space. So, and Charisma's it. I mean, they coined, they call what we call as gourmet inclusive. That's what they call their all-inclusive properties. So, and that made sense to us. Mm-hmm. So to be able to include something like a JWB, which is our high-end steakhouse we talked about earlier, into that plan, along with all of that, the high-end food and beverage concepts, maybe Margaritavilleized a little bit, just made perfect sense to us. I mean, they really are the perfect partner to do an all-inclusive concept with. So we couldn't be happier. We're really excited to be able to, and we can't wait to start talking about.
I bet, but you're going to have to wait a little while, because it's not going to open up. It's not going to open up right away. We got a couple of years left, right?
Yeah, 18. We're looking, a lot of our properties will be opening up in 18. When I say a lot of our properties, I mean a lot of different properties depending on, the partner. But yes, in the next 18 months, you're going to see a whole lot of new Margaritaville rooms opening.
And a couple of places they're coming. You guys seem to love Tennessee. I have to explain why, but Nashville and Gatlinburg?
Yes. So, we have a hotel in Pigeon Forge already. It does exceptionally well. It's at the island in Pigeon Forge, and it's just this really cool blend of the islands and the mountains. It's, a mountain it's we call it island attitude, mountain latitude. And it's just this really cool space. I mean, you think mountains and the islands, it doesn't make any sense. You get there and it's perfect. And so our partners in Tennessee have been really thrilled, and so yes, we're going to be doing a resort in Gatlinburg right down the road, and then our first real urban resort property in downtown Nashville.
And when can I expect that? Because by coincidence, I'm doing a speaking gig on Wednesday. We're recording this on Monday. Can I stay there on Wednesday?
No, I mean, you could, but I think we need to give you a sleeping bag.
Yeah, I'll be hanging out a nice dirt pile. Probably not as comfortable as those pillows that you recommended.
I'm sorry?
I said I'll probably have to sleep on a dirt mound, which is not as comfortable as those pillows that you recommended.
Probably, no, definitely not. But as soon as it's ready for guests, I'll be sure to let you know. It won't be until 18.
No, I figured.
Yeah, we've got some time.
That's awesome. Nashville's such a great city. I love that you're building this this resort in a non-traditional Margaritaville location. It's great to see how this brand is really flourishing and coming together, yet you're still able to keep such a sharp point of focus on who your audience is and what they're all about.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? I just like to summing these things up. All right, Tamara, anything else that I need to know?
I don't think so. I just think we should do this more often.
Yeah,
this
for sure.
Fun.
Yeah, this is definitely a lot of fun. We sure make this a lot easier. It beats working for a living. I'll tell you. Not that you work for a living, because apparently we learned that you don't have to do anything. Just teasing.
Stop it.
Awesome. So what I'd like you to do now is throw out some shameless plugs. Let people know how they could get in touch and be a part of the Margaritaville brand, either as a customer, because I appeal to a lot of road warriors, or as a potential developer.
Oh, well, make sure you check us out on Margaritaville.com. Everything you could need to know, whether it's how to book a room or how to become a partner, you can find right there. And that's www.margaritaville.com, and everyone make sure you keep your fins up.
That's true. You got it. All right, guys. I want to thank you all for listening. And Tamara, thank you for being such a great guest. I had so much fun talking to you today. What a good treat
Thank you, Glenn. This was awesome.
This has been absolutely awesome. And I want to thank everybody out there for listening. You guys are the best. We are hitting almost record numbers with every single show. And I'm sure that by the time that this one gets published, it'll be a record one too, because this was just going gangbusters. So make sure you reach out to me, Glenn@rouse.media. Send me your comments, your complaints, your insults, whatever. I can take it. No big deal. And also find me on Twitter @TravelingGlenn. Be sure to stay at a Margaritaville Hotel, and I will see you guys soon. That is, unless I decide to drop out of society and go on tour with Jimmy Buffett. I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter @TravelingGlenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.